Good evening, everyone. Welcome to July's edition of our panel discussion. The topic for this month is going to be, do you agree with give us fast horses? We wouldn't have automobiles today, right? So I'm sure all of us would have heard this term, probably not the same, but in similar terms, right? For example, people all I have always heard people saying I wish I had this during my childhood, right? So as a human being, what we do, we try to make sure that these things are available for our next generation, right? Kids, things like that. So but this is a reverse, right? So as an entrepreneur, you are looking at it, a problem, and then you're coming up with a solution, and you're trying to explain the solution, and you're trying to convince others to buy your solution, right? So that's exactly this is right. This topic is going to be right. So give us fast horses, we wouldn't have automobiles today, right? So let's get into this discussion now. When automobiles were invented, people did not know how to define them, right? That's a first problem, because there were no automobiles, right? We had a few carts and driven by horses and bullocks and things like that. But how do you define that? Whatever definition they came up with, people did not understand them. However, people were aware of carriages pulled by horses. So the automobile manufacturers made use of the analogy and defined the automobile as horseless carriages. Now people understood the definition. Now they know what it is, what it does, right? At least. So and how is it different? So horseless carriages did all three of them very well, right? So for the common man. Even in this definition, they were doing away with horses. They want to make sure that the horses is not there, right? Because that's the part they are trying to replace with, right? So Henry Ford is famously attributed to this quote on innovation: if I had asked my customers what they wanted, then they would have said a faster horse. What they actually wanted was faster cars. So he had that foresight, this is what it is, and this is exactly what they need. But this is how I'm going to explain, and then move on with it, right? If people had faster horses, we wouldn't have automobiles today, would we? This is the topic of this panel, and we have four eminent panelists with us today to discuss it. Let me begin by introducing them. Bikash Mohanty. Well, Bikash has about 3 decades of experience working with majors like Reliance Telecom, Bharati Airtel, SR, Tata Teleservices, Tata Tele Business Services, Jindal Steel and Power, and Jio Telecom. He's currently the state head of customer service delivery for Jio in Odisha. He has more than 8 years of experience in managing end-to-end customer lifecycle for diverse and complex portfolios. We welcome you to this panel discussion because we look forward to your views on innovating in the customer experience space. Thank you so much for being with us. And the next panelist is Hitesh. So Hitesh is an experienced product leader in fintech, mobility, and building startups. He has 8+ years of experience in crafting customer-centric solutions. He currently works as a head of customer experience and operations at Huru. Before this, he had stints with IndMoney, Uber, Avenue Growth, and Testament, handling product development and customer experience functions. I am sure Hitesh would add a lot of value to this discussion. We are thrilled to have you as a part of this panel. Welcome, Hitesh. The next one is Narendra Kumar. Narendra has been an entrepreneur for more than 3 decades. In his career, he has helped organizations of various sizes, from startups to Fortune 500 organizations. with their training and development needs. He has offered sales and process consulting to organizations of various sizes and has helped many organizations enhance their customer focus. He has had an impact on the lives of more than 30,000 professionals. Actually, I'm one among them. So I'm very thankful to Naren for that. So he is currently the managing director of Instivate Learning. His varied experiences across domains will be great value add for this panel. Welcome, Naren. We are happy to have you here. Last but not least, Karan Gupta. Karan is the senior manager handling service delivery at Bill Gosling Outsourcing. He is a visionary and results-driven, client-centric professional and close to a decade experience in driving business and revenue growth. Karan has extensive experience in a wide range of outsourced industries. He drives operational excellence with customers in the middle of everything. We are happy to have you as a part of this panel. Welcome, Karan. So we have 4 panelists today. Usually we do 3, but this time the topic is a little bit more broader and so we thought of including 4. So yeah, let's get rolling with this one, right? Let's move on to the first discussion point. Because we will start with you. Customer centricity is all about customers' needs, wants, and desires. How do you anticipate customer needs and bring innovation to CX? What techniques and tools do you use to anticipate and understand customer needs?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me to this panel.
Absolutely.
The interesting topic is very, very interesting. And if you ask me, I will go against the motion. However, it is a discussion. It is not a debate, as you rightly mentioned. And to start with, yes, you started with customer centricity and you gave it a little definition saying that customer centricity is all about anticipating customers' needs and requirements. That's maybe, yes, largely it is. Customer centricity is also about the decision making in an enterprise, in a company or in a corporate, how decisions are taken when decisions pertaining to cost, decision pertaining to growth, decision pertaining to revenue and strategy are taken. Is customer also a part of that discussion or not? That also determines customer centricity quotient. To what extent the top management, especially, is thinking about how it will impact the customer's life, the end customer. Having said that, the next part of your question is more important, that what are the tools and what are the ways we go about gathering customer needs, customer requirements, and processing it for design of service delivery, design of product, and design of our future growth.
Yeah.
Yes, there are primary sources, there are secondary sources. Primary sources is obviously horse's mouth. You straight take what the customer is saying, listen to what customer is saying at various touch points. So customers interact with you. That interaction can be electronic, that can be analog. Capture it, listen to it, process it. Mine your voice, customer voice, data mining, analytics. Those are all primary sources.
Yeah.
And more you get it, more richer it becomes, more varieties and more versatile the inputs and the output becomes. So then you get to know. So that's primary. Secondary is you look at what your customer is doing when he is not interacting with you, when he's interacting with at other places. What is his favorite color? What does he like to wear? Which hotel does he go? What airlines does he travel? That is secondary source. That's secondary source. And then you try and segment that and try and meaning out of it and use it for your advantage for your betterment. Now, having got these requirements captured, or having got these needs captured, how can the customer? You said it very interesting. When the automobiles did not exist, neither customers nor us knew what an automobile is. So,
yeah,
so before I hand over this to somebody else, I just want to leave this, that customers are best placed at best to define the problem.
yeah,
They can be part of defining the problem. They are not the experts to give you the solution. It will not be right to expect the solution to come from the customer. Yes, they will know the problem for which they want, that the problem they want to get solved. They want to solve the problem. Okay, well, this is my problem. This is what I want you to solve it. So yes, to answer your question, primary sources and secondary sources both should be used, and not just in statistical sample, but in large data that you can mine and make meaning out of it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, well said. So sometimes they may not even know that's a problem,
No,
right? So they'll
yeah,
be complaining about it, right? Because
correct, correct.
because we are living with that problem, right?
Yeah,
Probably it's something that we can solve, or something like, it may not be able to solve, right? So people start to like, work around it, or like, try to solve it in a different way, and
yes,
whatever they could do it, like, things like that. And then so as entrepreneur, we have to spot it, and like, come up with a solution or product or services, like, yeah, that takes care of that need, right? So yeah. So like, Karan, Hitesh, Naren, you want to add anything to it before we move
What
on?
you that this is kind of the sweet spot where brands distinguish themselves, right? There would
Yeah.
be brands who would want to gather the VOC through data mining or through direct VOC contact, and then kind of
Absolutely.
try and fix the problem. Now there would be other brands who would kind of research and find out what are the customer wants that we can create into needs. For an
Yeah.
example, the first iPod. So Apple has been a great innovator right from the get go, and they were the ones who identified what the customer may need in the future. And then it was just a desire. What if I have a touch screen phone and that's compact and that fits in my pocket, right? That was a
Yeah.
desire that they made a basic need. When they launched the iPhone, everybody wanted it, and people were
Yeah.
rushing to the stores, and that's the concept they've been following so far. So I think that orientation towards customer expectations slash wants definitely defines the brand value in a way.
Absolutely, yeah. So that reminds me of good old days where I used to carry like, big headphone, like really big, and the cassette player, like, it's this big, right? Like this, right? And then you have to carry the cassettes, right? That carries the music for 30 minutes or 60 or something like that, like back and like, both sides, things like that. So we used to carry that, and then like, that's the only way to listen to the music wherever you are, like, what do you want to listen, unless you are listening to a radio and that happens to play your favorite song. Otherwise this is the only other way to, like, enjoy your music, right? So think about that, and like, think about what we do now, like, on Bluetooth, like, earphones, and like, you are listening to what, like, a million songs, and it can go non-stop for years. So yeah, yeah, so it's really a good innovation and good
Someone
example.
I would like to add some point for customer centricity here. When we
Absolutely.
go back before 20, 25 years, right, the organizations felt, customer is all about sales and customer care.
Yeah.
But every other department gets the salary only from customers' payment. So,
Absolutely.
so everybody in the organization should be customer centric.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. It's
yeah.
not about no one department, working for it. An example here is I was doing a idea generation for one of my client in upcountry in Tamil Nadu. And it's to improve customer experience and increase the walk-ins. I said I want everybody to be here, including the electrician, including the person, right, who's serving a tea. They said, why? I said, these people are customers elsewhere. They also shop, they also have an experience. So why don't we listen to them so that we get some more ideas to understand their needs and wants? So I
Yeah,
think organization should ensure everybody undergoes a customer-centric thought process. And that should become a
absolutely.
culture by itself.
Yeah, yeah. Very good point, right? Yeah. If you don't have that thought process, like, so it's easy to miss out like, big part, and this is something organization can do very easily, right? It's just a culture, right? How you want to go about and, like, harvest these or, like, use these resources at your disposal. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so Hitesh, you want to add anything, or we'll move on?
I'll just quickly add and make it a very specific point around customer centricity. So
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos used to say that we should look at things which will never change in future. Rather, we focus on things which generally change. So I think the core of customer centricity is three things I would say. One is if we can reduce the time taken for any process. Let's say if it takes, let's say earlier, if I talk about opening demat accounts in India, it used to take
Yeah.
a lot of time. It was, a lot of, hindrance which we used to face. So only
Yes.
a specific set of people were able to do it. Now,
Yeah.
because of the integrations, because of the technologies and the government fostering everything, it has become very easy. So the time has it reduced, and the
Yeah.
reduction in time has led to the sudden outburst of this industry. So I think reducing the SLAs, to be very specific, is something which customers will always want. They will always want convenience because it shouldn't take a lot of steps. That's why we count how many clicks a customer is doing in the app, because if we increase the journey, if we make it more complex, it will not lead to fruitful result. So that customer will never tell us, but they will not be interested in us. Third part is related to delight, that if we are able to delight the customer, if we are able to surprise them in certain manner, or if we can create that empathy level, I think that is something which is the core of customer centricity.
Absolutely, yeah. Very, very good points. Yeah, yeah. So, like gone are the days, right? When you want to open an account, like it used to take days, right? So you had to go give some paperwork, and then they'll verify it, and then come back, and then like you have to go back again, and oh yeah, yeah. Like right now, you don't even visit the branch. Probably some of the new customers of a bank like may not even have stepped into a like a branch office, right? So everything is happen remote and mobile, and yeah, so it's such a good change, right? And for the fast paced life, right? Exactly. So what it fits into like what we live in, right? The era. So yeah, very good example. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So understanding like be able to serve something faster, like doing the same thing, but doing it faster. That's a very good need. In fact, that's a good need for a lot of problems that are yet to be solved. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of companies are striving to get there on many different front. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to the next discussion point. I guess we have got like a good idea with even with the first discussion point. So now let's like delve into like a little bit of a different aspect of it, right? So Karan, we'll start with you. Delivering exceptional customer experiences starts with the organization culture associated with the CX. How does culture play a role in delivering exceptional customer experience, CX, and how does technology aid the organization in delivering it?
So that's a very, I would say, important factor to consider when we are driving customer experience, right? Customer centricity has to be the center of any service or product-based organization. And I think the problem, or rather the problem statement that a lot of the brands would always have is, and we have seen a lot of startups struggle with this. At times, the question comes between revenue or product orientation, right? And we see a lot of compromise coming in terms of the product quality, in terms of driving the revenue. So, what is important and how do we bridge this gap is that having a strong fundamental organization value is important. In order to drive customer centricity, the company culture has to be oriented towards the internal customers as well as the external customers out there. And as Hitesh mentioned, I'll kind of utilize his example. Jeff Bezos is very famously known for keeping one chair empty in a meeting room, and he calls it the customer's chair. And in every meeting, he makes sure that, from all of the people who are there in the meeting, they kind of try and find out how could this impact the customer and how does this benefit the customer. And I think that's great strategy. If we, in every executive decision that we kind of take, if we include if there's going to be an impact on the customer experience, then we would do things different. And revenue and product quality or customer experience does not have to be exclusive of each other. It's about finding the right balance between your brand value and what the customer expects. And I think that's where we would go with a secondary example on this. If I talk about the comparison between what, as we were talking about how long it takes for us to open another account or whatsoever, we have seen a lot of progress happening on all the banks out there, right? We have EVA for from HDFC Bank. If you have any questions, quick queries or whatsoever, you can go to EVA and refer to it. It also helps you in applications as well, be it loan applications, credit card, checks, and all of that. And this technological advancement is only possible if your organization at core has the thought process that we got to make things easier for people. And as Hitesh also mentioned about customer journey. So, I mean, if we break it down around customer centricity, the first is, of course, going to be what are the basic expectations that we have to meet. And then we'll come to how do we make it easier for that person to get it. And then we'll come to how do we find the fine balance between the cost that we're putting into the R&D and the final product. And that can only be held together by somebody who's a strong ambassador from customer opinions. And that's why we see a lot of organizations now investing in the customer success profile. So basically, there are people who are onboarded only to represent the customer demands, needs, and all of that. And I think we have a lot of great examples in India itself. We see the startup ecosystem out there. For an example, Myntra. Now, Myntra has been absolutely focused on targeting not just the Gen Z, but also the millennials. And they've been kind of rolling out personalized recommendations, be it clothing items, be it accessories, whatsoever. Then you can pair this with XYZ, and that's how you can kind of replicate what the big stars out there are wearing. I'm sure we all have been seeing the recent advertisements as well as Myntra has rolled out. So at the end of the day, for every brand, it's about identifying their target market and finding ways to cater to it. It could be through a new vertical, new set of people, brand representation, whatsoever.
Yeah, very good points, right? Like as you explained, like some thoughts cross my mind. So one of them is I read somewhere at some time, like when they were having a discussion in one of the NASA buildings, right? So they asked a survey to different employees and and they introduced themselves and everything. So they happened to meet with a person who happened to be working on the floor, taking care of maintaining the the restrooms and the area right around the campus. So the question is what do you do, right? That's one of the common questions they asked. And so he looked up to that person and then said, I'm sending rockets to the moon. So what a way to answer, for a maintenance, building maintenance engineer, So the person who asked that question was really surprised, and he was never prepared to get that kind of a response, right? Because that's such a strong message, right? I'm sending rocket to moon, right? Because like Narena also was saying, so it takes the whole village in old days, right? Now it takes the whole company, every one of us, to deliver what it takes. It's not individually what we are doing, what we are not supposed to do. It's not like that anymore. These everybody is in it, and everybody is being part of it. So it's as simple as that. Yeah. So that culture to enable that, to bring that right into your design, into your product, into your customer expectation and experience. Yeah, that's what is going to make companies to shine better. Yeah. Okay. So Hitesh, or you want to add anything more? Naren?
Yeah. So can I just add something here to the
Absolutely,
culture?
Vikesh,
Yeah.
please go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So see, the people of an organization are the carrier of the culture. They are the ones. They are the ones who will have to actually take it to the customer and to the brand both.
Yeah.
So while it is important that the frontline alone, it is not just sufficient for the frontline alone to be, customer centric. The entire organization, all leaders as well as people need to be customer centric. So for example, let me give you an example. If there is an organization full of auditors, everyone would be busy looking at leakages. if there is an organization full of finance people, they will all look for opportunity to save. Now, those people, along with their core strength, also will have to look for opportunity to serve. Because customer experience, there are two inseparable elements from customer experience that you cannot rule them out or remove them out. One is a customer himself, and another is a supplier.
Yeah.
Now, that supplier of service can be a human being or it can be a server. As you rightly said, the person who's designing the user interface also needs to put customer on top. So customer culture, to sum up what I'm trying to add to what already said by the speaker, that yes, we have to have customer as a priority along with all other functional priorities. The customers must sit right up there. When I say customer, I'm talking about the customer needs, about the customer experience, about how the customer would feel and experience while he comes in contact with the brand or the product. That's all.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
I would like to add something to what Karan said, Uttaman.
Sure.
Karan triggered a very nice point called internal customer and external customers. There is a wonderful quote by Richard Bronson. He tells that if you take care of your employees will take care of your customers. So my take here is every head of the department should take care of their subordinates like as if they're taking care of their customers. So these are the subordinates who are going to be in the front line, who are going to take care of the customer. So when I get care from somebody, I would like to go give the same care to somebody else. The culture should be care and empathy. This culture actually helps in innovation. This culture helps in solving problem quickly, rather than trying to find out who is right and who is wrong. I did a very small experiment in a retail outlet. It's a jewelry shop, where customers definitely expect somebody to greet them very well because they're going to pay lakhs of money. So they actually had one person who used to stand there and do this job of inviting. But what happens is on the 20th day, the job becomes monotonous and their smile becomes monotonous and it becomes more plastic. Then we said we should not do this. Every employee should at one point of time do this job in a rotation basis. Right? Probably from the silver section, one person should come in the morning. From the gold, somebody should come in the afternoon. Like that. So that everybody does this so that they become more, say, presentable when they talk to the customers. So internal customers, when they are taken care, external will give us business.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well said. Okay.
Just want to add one more thing quickly.
Sure.
I think there is a famous quote, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if you don't have the right culture, whatever strategies, whatever number crunching you are doing, it's all waste, right? So I think, and it starts at the leadership level, because what happens in the team is we all subconsciously try to emulate our leaders. We try to emulate our managers, that okay, what values are they having? So if as a manager or as a leader I am shy to take those steps, I am not even motivated to speak to the customers or solve problems for them, my team will never be. So I think going on ground, being with the customer directly, not shying away from taking the initiatives, is something which instills a lot of confidence in the team, if we are able to do that. And I think one more point, which is like very very specific to the problems which sometimes we are not able to solve for a customer, because we will encounter a lot of customers in a day, in a month, or in a quarter, but we won't be able to solve each and every problem for them, right? There will be a lot of edge cases where it got stuck, it got delayed, or the service delivery was not able to fulfill. Now how do we retain those customers and how can we delight those customers? So I think there comes a human part and the empathy part, which can be delivered two ways. One is how are they interacting with the app? Are they being delighted even after not being served properly? Or whenever they are talking to our team, how our teams are responding to them? Do we know the issue or not? How can we kind of, the conversation which we have then is something is also important, because we tend to ignore that part where there will be customers we won't be able to cater to. So I think this is also which we should focus upon.
Sure. Good points. Okay. Thanks, Hitesh. So we'll move on to the third discussion point here, right? So this is a little bit different, like the same topic but different aspect. Right? So Naren, we'll start with you. People talk about incremental improvements in the CX they provide, and some people bat for groundbreaking innovation in CX. In my mind, these two are two sides of the same coin. What is your take on it, and how do you maintain a balance between incremental improvements and groundbreaking innovations?
Yeah, this is more, what you call on the technical side. Let me bring this to discussion, because when we talk about improvement, the word Toyota always comes to my mind.
Yeah.
In manufacturing, they use this word called Kaizen.
Mm-hmm.
Kaizen is continuous improvement. So Toyota, basically, if you see, right, they have generated more than 30 lakh ideas so far. And they don't have 5 or 10 variants of vehicles. They have more than 100 variants of vehicles.
Absolutely.
And once we go out of, when we go to Thailand or when you go to any other Asian countries, we can see a 6-seater, 8-seater, 10-seater, 12-seater, all huge ones. But when they came to India, they came just only with a Camry. They came with Altis. And if you remember, they came with Qualis. Now, these are the 3 vehicles. And all these things were not actually so new. They were all old there. I remember somebody telling me how they took up a dealership of Toyota. And what happened is Toyota was selling more Qualis, and people were trying to book it and wait. And suddenly they stopped selling Qualis. And the entire dealer community was unhappy because, no, that's a fast selling car. And then they came up with an Innova, right? Because they were only trying to understand the pulse of the market. So the continuous improvement, what happened is they came up with a vehicle which is still selling. Now also it is in a waiting period. But there was a feedback that went to Toyota telling that what you make is only for the rich and the famous, or it is only for the travel agencies. But what about a middle class Indian? Is he not supposed to drive a vehicle? Right? And the Toyota normally doesn't have small cars, as you know that, right? They are huge. And then they thought, okay, why don't we do something? And they started coming up with the R&D here. And they manufactured something called ETOS and Liva, right? Which was not Toyota way of doing a business. So their continuous improvement brought them hundreds of models. And their groundbreaking brought them a car which became a very, very important car in the travel segment across India. Right? If you see now also ETOS is getting sold in the travel segment. So what exactly Toyota believes is, right, give what the customer wants, not what you feel you can give. And any groundbreaking cannot happen without having a continuous improvement as a culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, if you see organizations, they have an R&D. R&D focuses on developing new products, improvising the product, or being innovative. But at this forum, I would like to tell that we should have a separate R&D for customer experience. Every organization should have a department which should work like any other department with proper KPIs, identifying what can we do to improve customer experience on a daily basis. Unless and otherwise, it becomes a department with an R&D. It is not that, no, customer care, how can I help you? It's not that. I'm talking about coming up with ideas, studying the best practices of the world, and implementing it very slowly in the system. My take is, most of the time, right, everybody comes to a war room when the customer complaints happen, or when there is a what you call delay in the delivery. And in that discussion, what happens is, in war, right, nobody is going to show love and care. They're either going to tell that sales overcommitted something, or the technology team is going to tell that they never asked us before committing something. Installation tells that the time limit was very less. And it is all about no fingers getting pointed on each other. But instead of having a war room, if you can have an idea room where there is an R&D going on every time to see what best can we do. As Hitesh said that, how do we reduce the time of delivery? He took DMAT as an example. Even I remember I started training people on selling DMAT a long time ago for Standard Chartered Bank. And after that, September 11th happened. Okay. So now what I mean here is, unless and otherwise we make it as a habit of thinking something new for the customer, it doesn't happen like that. So as you said, it's the 2 sides of the coin. Definitely, right? I cannot have groundbreaking printed on the coin and go give it and tell, hey boss, give me something. Right? That coin doesn't have a value. Or rather, I tell that I'll do it slowly, I'll do it, what you call incrementally. Even that coin doesn't sell. So an organization should have both groundbreaking and a continuous improvement as a way of culture. And that's how I think we'll be in a position to improve customer care.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. because the continual increment is a representation of how closely organization is listening to their customers and living up to their expectation, right? Because it just slowly evolves, right? It's not like one fine day we are doing something, our customer is expecting something. It's never that way, right? It just continuously brewing somewhere all the time, and then and you have a product that solves a service that caters to that particular scenario. So yeah, Karan, Hitesh, because you want to add anything?
Um, I'm kind of pitch in, and this is more of a food for thought. It's always going to be a double-edged sword. What I
Yeah.
mean by that is, if you do not innovate, there are going to be competitors out there who will, and they will take your target market. And if you keep investing a lot of money in innovating, then that's going to be a huge cost in R&D and all of that, right? So I'll quote an example. So Audi, now that's a brand that gives a major revamp once in probably 5 years, and their old cars still remain classic. So they don't have to kind of invest so much when it comes to coming up with groundbreaking technologies every year, right? Whereas if I talk about headphones, now that's the ever-changing domain, right? If you don't have a ANC, which is active noise cancellation, your competitor will, and then you lose your customers. So I think that's going to be a constant struggle between how much do we invest, how much do we innovate, and to what extent. And of course, that will greatly vary on the brand value, the
Yeah.
funding, the amount that you have available, and of course the resource that you want to kind of deploy. So I think that's a question that we all will have to kind of consider when we are trying to improve the customer experience for our brands or for somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very good point actually. Yeah, headphone. Yeah, we have come a long way. We are continuing to make a long headway in there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hitesh, Bikash.
Yeah, hi. So what I thought from the first speaker, I forget Narendra ji. I think
Yeah.
he I agree with him, and he said that it has to be a mix of both. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be a continuous improvement, whether you call it defect reduction, whether you call it Kaizen or
Yeah.
Pareto, that must continue at the operational level, because
Yeah.
your customers continue to get surprised when you serve them faster than you did yesterday, or you give them a better quality than you gave them last month.
Yeah.
So that must continue. At the same time, adoption of technology is it's a must go.
Yeah.
There is no question of not going into and adopting new technologies. So the
Yeah.
moment you adopt new technologies, whether it is virtual reality or AI or Internet of Things, your customers will definitely perceive a shift in their experience, because that's a paradigm shift that is happening today. So it is not a choice. It is not a matter of choice, but to do a paradigm shift. At the same time, the operational improvement must continue. So it's a mix of both. Just wanted to add that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Good points. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So so we'll move to the next discussion points. So we'll start with Hitesh for this one. So can you share some real life examples of how you have implemented innovation in your CX function? You can share any good practices with the audience and critical things they should consider in building their CX function.
Right. I think to make it generic, it starts with having empathy with the customer, which is again a very generic point. But I think genuinely believing that what the customer is going through, if we can have that sense, that would be really really great. That can be done by talking to the customers directly, and just using those functions as customers, right? To begin with. Now, from the examples point of view, I'll maybe give you something which I did 8 years back. We were building a referral program for job market, and there
Okay.
was a It's basically a portal where you can refer people. It was called Market Recruit back then. And there was how you refer people is by, clicking it, and then someone has to manually enter your coupon code. At that time, it seemed fine. But again, I thought that why would a customer would, take a pain of entering that coupon code, and, it will obviously lead to a lot of errors. So I came up with an idea that why don't we give them dynamic links? I didn't even know at that time that, that technology existed. I just, came out because I found that problem to be relevant to me, that if someone is giving me the code, I won't take a pain to enter the code directly and all.
Yeah.
And I talked to my tech team, and in 1 week they created that solution as well, which made it very, very easy for people to refer on the platform. Uh,
Yeah.
After that also, when I moved to Uber, we actually saw a lot of innovation which was happening by contextualizing the experiences. When we used to speak to the driver partners, how much information do we have, and what sort of information we can share with them, and how do we delight them by using those specific points? Like if someone is talking to us, we know that they are high rated partner, and they have a certain rating, they have a certain experience with us. We kind of contextualize that conversation with them in terms when our agents are speaking to them. I think that was something which was big also in terms of improving the efficiency of the team, because at scale we have to look at that very, very closely. So how can we keep our executives utilized is something, which we looked upon. One of the projects which I took care of that, because Uber is 24 into 7, right? You can book a ride in whatever time you can. So we have to run our business also accordingly. We cannot say that, if you are coming on a Saturday night, we'll solve your problem on Monday. We have to be there and, kind of, solve it right away if we can. At least we should be there to listen to the problem and record it for that matter. So we created a weekend program where, how our executives will be available over the weekend, how their rosters would be designed, how the SOPs, how even without managers being there, they can operate in that, self-managed manner. So this is something we did at Uber. And at IND Money, I was a part of a project where it was contextualizing experience on the app. So let's say, because IND Money is a platform where you can do a lot of financial activities, be it trading, be it investing in US stocks, investing in FDs, tracking all your investment. So it's very, very, all the services sometimes make it very cluttered. So when you go to a help section, it is very contextual. So the help section which I will see could be different from what you will see based upon the journeys which we are inside the app. So let's say if I have transacted, I will see those transaction values way before I raise a ticket, to the team. So I think that contextualization is something which we kind of took up. Also, at the back end, also the same information, how do we send it to the executive is something which we worked upon. At Huru also, because since it has just begun, it's been like 4 or 5 months only. We have
Okay.
been scale up pretty fast by talking to the customers. Now we are actually gathering data, and we'll try to put some AI is going ahead. But as of now, it's a very ground level learning for us. Speaking to the customers directly, getting the insights from the industry, and kind of giving that personalized experience which we can. But yeah, as we
Okay.
see, now we are trying to implement it and making it contextual via technology. So I think this
Okay.
is something, which I can share from my journey.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's good to know. So good luck with the Huru, Hitesh. Yeah, Naren, Karan, Bikash, you want to add anything? Any example you want to share?
And of course, this entire topic is of course a very broad representation, because
Yeah.
we cannot focus on a specific industry, and every parameter would vary industry to industry, right? And I'll talk about the industry that I'm currently handling, which is call center outsourcing, contact center outsourcing, basically. A specific example to how we manage customer experience and how we leverage technology to do that is, we have an in-house tool that we have kind of worked on and built, that basically analyzes the speech pattern on a specific call that has come in. So our customers contact us for challenges, concerns, queries, or whatsoever, and maybe sometimes feedback on their product. And what we do is, our tool kind of creates a heat map of the customer expression, his feelings, and the tool rather brings out specific verbiages that were used, and what is the possibility of the customer being irate, or being happy with a specific issue code. So with this, we were able to identify if for an example, for maybe a dress change, we find that 68% of the customers are pretty normal on the curve. So that's an issue item that we can kind of deprioritize and put it to people who probably maybe new in the account. But for people who are very good with it when it comes to empathy, people management and all that, we will allocate the burning issues to them, wherein we see that our probability of the customer being irate is greater than 92%, 94%. So basically, that helped us not just utilize our resources better, but also it helped us analyze a lot of region-based, issue code-based, people-based feedback, opinions, and all of that. So that's one way that we are leveraging technology, and I'm sure Narendra and Vikas will have examples of their own to add on to this.
Yeah.
Uttaman, I'd like to just add something about
Sure.
innovation. As you know that, right, I work closely with entrepreneurs and helping them to improve their business.
Yeah.
And it's a consulting assignment I keep doing. Right. However, what I felt is whenever they feel like having a problem, they'll call us. But I felt that why should we allow the customer to get into a problem? Why don't we ensure that we keep educating them continuously on good practices? So thanks to WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp actually helps us to send some mini micro lessons. They've been doing this for years together in various groups where entrepreneurs are there. And this actually makes the entrepreneurs to think that, yes, I can do this further. And they keep calling and they come to me and ask, what else can we do to improve our business or sales? So I believe that we should always keep nurturing the customer, right? We should keep, ensuring the customers are like trees, once you allow them to grow, they will give us the fruits. But just planting a seed and, waiting for things to happen, it doesn't happen. So I think that's one of the best way to be in touch with the customer and to ensure they enjoy our services.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. Because you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll just give you one example of how it helped us, adopt to technology, and that kind of ended up in huge savings and convenience for the customer as well. Okay. That is it is called self KYC. Am I audible?
Yes.
So previous to this initiative that we implemented, a customer was required to visit for a physical KYC. There was a device where he has to put his fingers on, and then his biometric will be captured, and his KYC will get authenticated at UAIDAI Aadhaar server. Now that was very, very cumbersome both on part of the customer as well as us, because it used to be time taking and accommodating so many customers for their needs to physically was a humongous challenge, and it was spread through the entire geography of India. Self KYC is a tool wherein the customer from his phone using our MyGeo app, that user interface, he will be able to self KYC. For example, he can go there and order his new connection, put his Aadhaar number. The Aadhaar number will fetch all the details. He doesn't need to put anything else, no other documents, no physical photocopying, and he will get authenticated. Our delivery boy will go and deliver the SIM card at his place. Payment happens, KYC happens at customer's place, at his convenience. That was something that we thought added to a lot of customer experience, because he doesn't have to really take any effort, few clicks, and he's done. And we deliver it through our delivery mechanism. So that was a good example of adopting technology which has enhanced customer experience and huge cost savings.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Very good point, actually. Yeah. Letting them to do the KYC themselves, so it not only give them the convenience, it also allows you to scale it, right? Because right, how many of them we can physically serve, right? Just not possible. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, good one. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of all the discussion points. So now it's time to take some questions from our audience. So audience, please post your question, or you can ask, or you can put it in the chat. So and then we'll come back and then answer. Okay. So why don't you go ahead and prepare your questions if you don't have one already, and then meanwhile I'll try to conclude the topic and so that way we give you a few minutes to do that, right? So I want to thank all four panelists today for being with us and taking time from your busy schedule, come and share your thoughts, your experience with us. So it means a lot to us and to the community. So thanks so much for being here. Because thanks so much for being here. Appreciate all your insights and look forward to be in touch with you in some same format or different format in the future.
Sure.
Um, Karan, thanks so much for being here. I know you have been here before also, so we really thank you for your support, and it's always wonderful to have you here and learn from your experience. So it's a good experience having you here. Thanks so much, Karan. Naren,
The feeling is mutual.
absolutely, yeah. Thanks, Naren. Thanks for being here. And so we'll, now that you have shared a lot of insights, we'll have you more often, and we'll ask you a lot more questions, and so trouble you.
Welcome, Uttaman.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Naren. Hitesh, thanks so much, and yeah, it's like some good ideas and what you have done, and so giving a individual link, a dynamic link, or everything. So it's a good talk to you, Hitesh, and good luck to with your career and your current company, Puru startup. So thanks so much for being here, Hitesh.
Thank you.
So, Abdul, do we have any questions from the audience, in the chat, or please go ahead and post the questions.
There is one question in the chat, sir.
Ah.
Can you provide a few examples of technologies that have successfully transformed the customer journey? This is a question shared from Aravind.
Probably I can share one input. I think one technology that I can talk about is the recommendations aspect of it. So social media is constantly gathering information around what you are searching. So I am an end consumer. Whatever I'm looking on Facebook is kind of being supplied, and of course, a lot of these big organizations, they talk to each other. So if I'm kind of looking at a car, or let alone a car probably, because if I'm looking for a car, then Spinny and the Indian brands would kind of reach out through advertisements, emails, whatsoever. But I think a simpler example of it could be that if I'm looking for a wristwatch, right, it could be a Fossil wristwatch on Facebook, I'm kind of just exploring, right. Within 3 minutes or 5 minutes, I'll be able to see recommendations coming in on Facebook itself that, you know what, these are the 10 watches that are there, and if you click on the link, it will directly take you to either Amazon or Flipkart, wherever the price is best, and you can kind of select or whosoever the targeted e-commerce supplier is, and that kind of makes things easy. If in case I'm contemplating, or for an example, if there's an offer going on, right? If I previously searched on Amazon, if I search for an air conditioner, and Amazon knows about it, they would, whenever there's a drop, you will get a notification directly coming into our application that probably 5% discount coming in, or this rate has been slashed, and all of that. And that makes things easier for us as consumers to not actively search for what's the discount, but rather get the notification and make the purchase. So I think the customer journey, of course, is getting impacted and made better through personalized targeted recommendations, I would say offers, promotional discounts, and also, of course, shopping journey. So when I say shopping journey, and a lot of the brands are actually currently working on it. Such as if I'm going to Amazon Fresh, a physical store in USA, and I picked up maybe I picked up cookies, right? So the next time I'm going to be there, Amazon kind of sends me the recommendation that this is in stock. So it's on aisle 4. If you want to pick it, you can go to aisle 4 and take that item and check out. So I think that's one example I can contribute.
Yeah, that's a very good example. Yeah, so serving the customer based on what they have right and done in the past, and yeah, so giving a similar items or the same items. Yeah, so definitely, right. Especially when you're doing that kind of a shopping, like grocery shopping, it's more of a repetitive than you do entirely different ones every time. So yeah, thanks, Karan.
So I'll quickly share an example of technology,
Yeah.
from my experience with Uber. So if you have taken an Uber, let's say, and you are going on your trip, and if suddenly you take a halt for, let's say, 5-7 minutes, or whatever, you get a notification somehow that are you safe, your vehicle has been stopped for some time. And it's a very classic example where technologies is marrying the empathy, that we are able to utilize that specific data point of a specific trip, and just shooting a notification that is everything okay, and then
Yeah.
build and reliability on top of it, that okay, if you are not okay, these are the XYZ things you can do within the app itself. You can reach out to the Uber support, you can reach out to the law enforcement agencies directly, and these are the things. SOS button is there. But this is something which where technologies marries the empathy part. So I think and also on the in terms of technology, as well as the API things which are being opened up. So API is something, different integrations which we can have, so that different systems can talk to each other very smoothly. Specifically in fintech space, it is very, very important. Like because you mentioned about the Aadhaar KYC, the eKYC or
Yeah.
self KYC. It is because of the API culture which we have, that okay, these are the technologies which are available to us,
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
we can actually integrate it and then think about it. So I think
Yeah.
opening these things also helps and kind of solves the problem, because if government try to regulate those things, then we won't be able to build any technology stack over it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's a very good point, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. Yeah. Thanks, Hitesh. Yeah. Yeah. The API have made a huge impact, right, in the way how we operate, how we offer our services, how we collaborate, and so it's like it's not like a one person or one company doing anything, right? It's just combination of different services from different companies putting together and then coming up with a product, right? That was so it looks so seamless, but underneath there are a lot of collaboration goes on, and I guess the API makes it possible. Yeah, so very good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks, Hitesh, for that one. Yeah, yeah, good point. Yeah. So I guess that brings us to the end of this discussion, panel discussion today for July first week. So thanks everyone for being here, audience. We thank you for your time being here, and want to thank all the panelists, 4 panelists. One more time, thanks Bikash for being
Thank you.
here.
Thank you. It was very nice.
Thanks. Thanks,
Interactions.
Hitesh, and thanks, Naren, and thanks, Karan. It's wonderful talking to all of you. Looking forward to have another discussion sometime in the future. Have a nice evening, and I will talk to you all soon.
Likewise,
Thank
thank you
you.
so
Bye.
much.